and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Noelle and I make college and lifestyle videos. Subscribe to join. If you're not new here, welcome back. What was I doing with my hands right there? Today I'm going to be making a language video, mostly about just different resources I found, different tips and things I've had to learn languages. If you didn't know, I'm kind of a language geek, and languages just really fascinate me and interest me. I definitely would not say I'm fluent in any other language. Italian is my next best language, and I can hold a conversation usually in Italian. I did take Spanish in high school, but I don't remember much. Oops. To start, I want to talk about different apps that you can use for your language studies. First one, everyone knows about Duolingo. If you don't know it, it just kind of goes through a series of bubbles. There's Green Owl that will threaten you if you don't practice. And I do like Duolingo just for like general, if you don't have very much time to squeeze in those 5 to 10 minutes a day. The next one I really like is Quizlet. And I really like Quizlet for either finding lists for vocab or making your own lists, because that repetition, it just is really great. Or obviously you can make actual flashcards, but that's a good way to get vocab. And yeah. Next app I want to talk about that is a little less known, but I really have enjoyed it, and it's called Drops. I don't know where I'm gonna put on the screen, but it's called Drops. The way it works is it only lets you use it for 5 minutes a day, unless you want to like have the premium. So you only have 5 minutes a day, so it's not a huge commitment to just start, and it teaches you vocabulary through pictures. So it will like show you a picture of whatever it's describing, and then it will show you the word in your target language. And so it kind of gets you thinking in language rather than translating from English to the language. The next app is going to be HelloTalk. This is an app where you can connect with other language learners or other native speakers and kind of get language buddies. You make an account, it's free, and you can text people, or you could even do voice recordings. I'm pretty sure you can even like FaceTime, like video call if you want. So that's a really good one if you want to practice with native speakers and get correction from them. The next one I want to talk about is super similar. It's called italki. This one does cost money, I believe. You can basically find tutors or language partners if you want to exchange time. So similar to HelloTalk, but italki, you can find actual tutors. And I personally haven't used this one, but I've heard of a lot of other language learners who have used italki. They really like it because a tutor, which actually speaking in the language is what helps you the most, I feel like. And then having a native speaker, of course, to correct you and practice with is so beneficial. Next one, your teacher probably will tell you no on this one, but Google Translate, especially if you're traveling, which right now we're not doing very much traveling really, but Google Translate will save you in a pinch. I know it's not the best, but sometimes you just need it real fast. Another one going along with that is language-specific translator apps. For example, I have Italian Translator Plus, I'll put up here. This one is just a little more accurate, I guess, than Google Translate probably would be. They have similar apps for lots of different languages for this. I know there's like a Spanish one and whatever, so try to find one of those apps. Also, I would have Google Translate just as like a backup. Next one I want to talk about is Memrise, and I love the Memrise app. It's a vocab app. It teaches you through spaced repetition, so I felt I really learned vocabulary quickly with that. The only downside is Memrise is not free anymore. For the longest time, it was free to use, and I absolutely loved it. It's not free anymore, so I'm not paying for it, but if you do want to use the money for it, try it out maybe. I do believe it's a really great app. It really helps me with vocab. The next app I want to talk about is actually called the Embark app. This is an app I used as an LDS missionary learning Italian. So if you are a Christian, it does have a lot of religion-based vocabulary in there. It is specific to the LDS church, but like I said, there's a lot of just Christian vocabulary in it as well, which I know on other language apps, sometimes it can be harder to find religious vocabulary. And so that one is really good for that. Going along with that, for me, like I mentioned before, I'm very religious, and you can usually find your Bible apps or scripture apps or whatever in your target language, or maybe just an app that you could at least go to the settings and switch the language. I have really enjoyed kind of studying the scriptures with my English side by side with my Italian. Highly recommend it. Now we're on books. Now, I do have some textbooks that I recommend. These are the Practice Makes Perfect brand. It's just this brand. They have different colors for the different languages. I actually don't have an Italian one. I have been meaning to buy one, but I just haven't yet. So I have a Spanish one that I enjoyed in high school that I want to go back to, and also a French one because someday I'll get to that. I do really like the setup of it. I feel like it's a really good beginner thing. It's just like a workbook. Yeah, so I definitely recommend those. You can buy them on Amazon or at Barnes & Noble. For my Italian one, I actually just have this, La Grammatica Italiana, and I have this I got as a missionary. They don't actually sell it though, they just have it for the missionaries. So definitely getting some sort of grammar textbook can be super helpful for you. Another one I wanted to talk about for like books, this is the Spanish one, but these are short stories. I don't know every language they have this in. Oh, and it's by Ollie Richards. He is a polyglot and I believe he speaks 8 languages. And so he has written all of them. I don't know if he wrote the stories themselves, but he at least translated them or something like that. I know they have this in like French and Italian, but if you speak one of like the more major languages, they might have this for you. I really recommend it because it's very short stories and gives you vocab and like a little quiz so you can check for comprehension at the end. And especially if it's your own book and you can write in it, that is nice. So, yep, short stories in Spanish or Italian or French or whatever your language is. Going along with that is if you have a favorite book but translated into your target language, so a book that you already know pretty well. Like I know Harry Potter is obviously a very well-known book and it's translated into a lot of languages. So if that's one you've read a lot and you enjoy, then you could get the Spanish translation of it or the French translation or whatever it is. You could even read it kind of side by side with your English to understand context, and that's a very good tactic as well. Another one is I literally have, again, if you're religious, really recommend reading the scriptures in your target language. That has helped me so much, and it's also kind of helped me get like a new perspective while I'm reading the scriptures. Highly recommend. I have like so many scriptures in different languages. I have a German Bible. I don't speak German. Hopefully someday, but I found it like the Goodwill. These are my Italian scriptures. I have the Bible and the Word and stuff. Love it. I also have Spanish ones. I used these more in high school. Once I got my mission call, I like stopped studying Spanish because it's so similar to Italian. I didn't want to get confused, so now I kind of forgot most of my Spanish. So I needed to study it again. I also have it in French and German, which are on my bucket list. Oh, and hymn books. This one's in Spanish, this one's in Italian. I use them both on my, not this one, I use this one on my mission. Moving on to podcasts. I love podcasts in general and also for language learning. So one that I really recommend is called Coffee Break, whatever the language is. So like they have Coffee Break Spanish, they have Coffee Break Italian, Coffee Break French. They have it in a few different languages. I really like the way that Coffee Break podcast is set up because basically they have a native speaker and they have a learner and it's like a conversation and you basically get to learn it along with the person. Another one is Duolingo has a few podcasts where they tell like short stories. I think they have it, I know they have it in Spanish, might have it in another language like French or something. There are other podcasts available, so if you just search your language on your podcast app, then you can find lots of different podcasts you can listen to, either that are like by native speakers or that are for learning. I just haven't tried very many others, so I don't have recommendations for that, but podcasts in general are a great way to learn. The next category, online. It's always to learn online. The first one I would say is music. Making playlists is a great way to get hyped and to get used to listening to just the sound of the language, which will help you so much when speaking it and getting your mouth muscles used to forming those words. Look up the lyrics so you know what you're saying. YouTube has a ton of great content as well. Try to find actual YouTubers that are from that country or speak that language or whatever, that like vlog or do whatever in that language, or you can find videos that explain the language and teach it to you. If you're learning Italian, one specific one that I really recommend is Italian with Lucrezia. She is an Italian that lives in Rome. My favorite thing that she does is she vlogs just her normal life in Rome. She puts English subtitles in, or you can change it to Italian subtitles. She puts both in. It really helps train your ear to understand the native speakers and their speed. So I highly recommend doing that no matter what language you are at. Try finding some YouTuber or something where you can do that. And plus it's fun to see more of like their country and their culture and where they live. It's super fun. Another thing you've probably heard about is watching either TV shows or movies, native ones, or you can watch your favorite ones translated. That's super helpful and can be really fun. Next one would be look up and find like influencers that speak your target language. For example, I follow a few different like Italian influencers like young adults or whatever, and that's super a fun way for me to just kind of see it as I'm scrolling or whatever. Last, for the online group would be to change your phone to that language. Sometimes I get a little confused and have to change it back to English, but I try to keep my phone in Italian. It's a good time. The last section are other tips just in general. Journaling is super great. It helps you realize gaps in your vocab and also can help you realize how much you do know how to say. Flashcards, I mentioned earlier with Quizlet. Finding a buddy can be super helpful. So either a friend that you will like actually know in real life that's learning that same target language, or even another language you can just keep each other accountable and practice with, or you could find a language buddy through HelloTalk or iTalki. Actually speaking will help you so much. Another thing, something called SYL, speak your language. That's what they call it as missionaries. We say SYL, and that basically means if you know the word for it in your target language, then use it. Like, don't use the English word for it. Even if you don't know how to say the whole sentence, just say like the one word. If you didn't know how to say I need to go to the bathroom in Spanish or Italian or whatever, you need to say bathroom, baño, then you can say I need to go to the baño, you know, like that. That's a very simple example, but just kind of sticking that in wherever you can gets your brain used to thinking in the language, and you know, you can just translate for people around you that aren't learning it. Speaking is so helpful. I also pray in Italian. I do all my prayers in Italian and I love it. So just speak as much as you possibly can. Surround yourself with it. Make it as easy as possible to be surrounded by the language. Speak to yourself, even if you don't have a language buddy, if there's no one around. You could vlog to yourself. That's a really fun way to record your progress and look back. It's super fun. 2 last tips. The first one would be, I know in school, I feel like we learn grammar so slowly. I took Spanish for 2 years and we were in the present tense that entire time. I think we barely started touching past tense at the very end. When I started learning Italian, I went through a 6-week course. Granted, it was like an all-day thing, so we were able to devote so much time to it, but in 6 weeks, we learned present, past, and future, and some of other tenses, and a ton of vocab. And so you really don't have to learn, so go further than you think you can. You'll be surprised by how much will stick in your brain. Once you're able to have those basic grammar concepts, then you're able to explain yourself, you're able to speak more, you're able to have so much more freedom in the language, and so it's more fun, and so you practice more. And so I highly recommend learning at least the basics of past, present, and future grammar tenses as soon as you possibly can. Last but not least, know your why for learning the language. It doesn't matter what it is, just something that motivates you, whether you're just passionate about the language itself, or you want to travel there or move there, or there's people you love that speak that language, or whatever it is, maybe your ancestors were from there. Know your why and be really clear about it and passionate about it, and you just keep up the good work and keep learning and loving languages because they're so much fun. Such a special thing about being able to connect with people in their own language. That's all I have for today's video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. And let me know what language you're learning down in the comments below. I would love to know. If there's any resources or ideas that I missed, please let me know below in the comments so that I can use them too and so that other people can know about them as well. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to go practice your language today, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Wow, I just spoke really fast for like 20 minutes. Okay, I feel like I'm out of breath. I do have asthma, so I'm filming right now. I can't talk. Is the camera rolling?